Hello, welcome to another episode of Drinking with Comics. My name is Sean,
And I'm Mike.
and
I
we
mean,
are back. It's only took a month or so for me to actually complete Multiversity. So we're going to conclude our discussion on Grant Morrison's Multiversity today. But first, a couple things. We've been away for a while, so I wanted to, we were talking right before we rolled tape, and a couple things we want to talk about. So first, we're going to do our Energon Minute. That's about where we are with the Energon Universe, going from dedicating the entire fucking show to it to the Energon Minute. It'll be more than a minute, but Mike, you brought up so was the Energon Universe Special for this year? It's also like if you go on Free Comic Book Day, you get it free, and then if you didn't
yes,
go, you pay for it like a week later, right?
yes.
Okay, so it's the same thing. Okay, so
Just like last year.
yeah, okay. So spoilers, everybody. If you haven't read the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day special for 2025, just mute us for a minute. Wow. So
That was
Mask.
a fun read. That was like if anyone who was paying attention to the last one, I was just sitting there like, I can't wait for Mask to show up. And then the next day, Mask shows up.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think they said in the back, the kind of like liner notes or whatever, to use a slightly antiquated record sleeve term, that it's not really, they're not going to bring Mask in full force, right away, but they just wanted to like, they're here, so we'll get to them or whatever. So I thought that was a pretty cool way to do it.
Yeah. It's exactly what I wanted. Just Matt Tracker showing up. She's like, yeah, I'm aware of these Transformer guys.
Yeah,
I'm tinkering with my own version of it all. And I like Clutch. I like seeing Clutch having Clutch adventures. Clutch
I
is
do
probably my
too.
favorite GI Joe.
I like this stuff with him and uh, it's not
Hound?
Ironhide, Hound. Yeah,
Hound.
yeah. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, I hope they're just buds for rest of the
Yeah.
from now on. Just
Yep.
just Hound and Clutch being buds.
Could be a cool sitcom. Like they live together in some swanky apartment, and one of them's got to pretend that they're gay so the landlord doesn't throw them out or something, or however that I don't know, however that worked. Um, yeah, it was cool. It was very cool. I enjoyed that. I've enjoyed, GI Joe is still kind of the lesser book, but I've still enjoyed Void Rivals and Transformers about the same. And there's I forget the something war is like the event that's going to start now, where it's going to be, like
Is it the Quintesson War?
that's it, the Quintesson War, where they're going to
Yeah.
go to the Great Ring, basically. So that's pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah. So there, Energon Minute.
Energon
Mask.
minute, more like 3 minutes, but there you go. I would like to say now, since you said Mask on our last episode and it appeared, I want to say something this episode and hope it appears. Inhuman motherfucking noids.
Humanoids, humanoids.
The evil that lies within. From down in the fiery depths of the earth where nightmares begin.
Inhumanoids, inhumanoids.
The evil that lies within.
I want humanoids. Now I can't say it. Inhumanoids.
That's like the big giant kaiju-y type guys that live in the earth and
Yeah, yeah, dude. That
yeah.
that cartoon, not something I saw religiously because it was on like Sundays at an odd time. But the few episodes I saw as a kid like almost scarred me. They were like pretty fucked up.
It,
So
it was on after Gem, if I remember, because I remember having to watch Gem just to wait for humanoids to pop up.
oh, and speaking of Gem, I don't know if you saw this whole thing, but like Hasbro Pulse is releasing like the Cold Slither figures as the Comic-Con exclusive this year, so nobody will
Yeah.
get it except for scalpers, and like 3 people that go to Comic-Con. But on the box, there's a poster for Gem, like because the box looks like a venue, right? And so there's a poster for Gem like playing there like on a different night. So there's this
Oh, that's
big
sweet.
rumor thing. And my girlfriend loves Gem. And I really have been wishing that like the people that do classified would do a Gem thing, but they're like, we're not bringing Gem into classified or whatever. Which I mean, that would have been dumb anyway had they brought it into classified. But just it would be cool if somebody did if they gave Gem that treatment, so I could buy them for her, and then I won't be the bigger, I won't be such a big nerd in comparison.
I think there's some gem stuff coming, but I think it's like the official dolls, more
Yeah,
like.
I mean,
I think like Loyal Sub. I can't remember. I know Loyal Subjects is doing mask figures, like the original mask with the little figures, and it's practically like the same toy as before, but with some extra bonus features and articulation.
okay.
Um, so I thought they had the gem rights too, but I haven't seen anything. Unfortunately, I don't really pay much attention to gems, so I don't know if there was
Yeah,
something
same
coming or
here.
not. Yeah,
It was cool that it was like, um,
it's a fun tie-in.
it was cool that they
Yeah.
tied it into the Cold Slither thing. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, it was like, I think Viper Island had like a headline like, is Gem coming to classified? And I just did like a double take and I sent it to my girlfriend right away. And then I watched it and I was like, shit. And I heard her go, shit. I was like, okay, there. Anyway, another thing that happened since we've been gone. Uh, what'd you think of Daredevil Born Again?
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I especially loved the bank heist episode.
Yep.
Was probably the highlight. Um, I know, like, I've seen a couple of things where it's like people's like Kamala Khan's dad. You know, his daughter is Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel, right? You know
Yeah.
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, his daughter is Kamala Khan, which is
I
a
did
little
not
over.
watch that, and I've never seen the actor before or the character. I'm unfamiliar with the character, but like they make it abundantly clear pretty much from the moment he's on screen that that's who he is, right? So I was like, okay,
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah, and it's a little over the top, but I love that it's over the top because to me he's like I feel like it's appropriate for him because when when your daughter saves the world and you're proud of what your daughter does and you want to tell the world about it but you can't because there's this thing called a secret identity, that's how you react to situations like that. Oh, my daughter is this. Oh, my daughter is that.
Right.
Like it's so dead on to the character. It was just a fun watch. Um, and I like that there's like, to me, I think they are doing Daredevil correctly.
Yeah.
Because not because it's good, but there's a season 2 in the works right now. They're
Oh
making
yeah.
season
So
two,
yeah.
right? Yeah. So I know there's more coming. There's a season 3. They just they announced that we're definitely doing season 3. Once again, I know more is coming. Unlike Miss Marvel, where it's like, well, where's season 2? Why should I get invested in She-Hulk if there's no other seasons? So I'm glad they're doing this correctly. Like whatever mold they're stick with this with other shows, whether the show's good or not, just at least give us something like to know that there's something like a future for a show,
Well,
like with
I
Daredevil,
I
especially.
had begun to think that just all of the Marvel shows are just standalone seasons. It's like that's it. It just seems like because the first ones were right. Vision and Scarlet Witch was never
Yes.
going to be more than that first season. Falcon and Winter Soldier never going to be more than that first season because it led into other things, right? Bigger things for the
Yes.
characters. Um, Hawkeye could have been more, I guess. And it's been a while since I watched it, and I feel like there was a
I
fourth
feel like
show.
Hawkeye definitely could have been more. I mean, when you introduce these younger characters that have clearly more adventures ahead of them,
Well, like Kamala Khan, right? I mean,
Kamala Khan, Hawkeye, I think She-Hulk definitely could have been another season or two.
yeah.
Um, yeah, because these are characters that aren't really like, oh, cool, you have a She-Hulk. It's not like she's showing up in any movies or anything like. I mean, she will eventually, I'm assuming,
Maybe I don't.
but
Dude, they're so.
2 years, 6 years from now,
When
yeah,
I saw the announcement for the whatever the Avengers movie, I literally was like, okay, so clearly you're out of fucking ideas if we have James Marsden and Patrick Stewart. I'm like, nothing against them, but I'm like, you're supposed to be moving away from the last iteration, and instead you're like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. Get RDJ back and just let's throw in a bunch of characters from all the Sony movies.
yeah.
Okay. I mean, tell me you're out of ideas without telling me you're out of ideas. Maybe I'll be wrong. I doubt it, but
Mm,
it just
I agree. It
that
seems a
cast.
little.
Also, how are you going to have a cast that big? What is? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I mean, you did it with Infinity War.
Yeah, Infinity War is unwatchable in my opinion. It's fucking awful.
See,
I
I
mean,
liked it a lot.
I suffered through it on Netflix only because I wanted to see Endgame, and Endgame delivered. I could have done without the hour-long time heist that took us back through the greatest moments of the last 10 years. That was a bit like okay, but overall I dug it. But no, it took me like 3 days to watch Infinity War.
Really?
No, I just hated almost every moment of it.
Um, I'm sorry to hear that, sir. That
Yeah,
you're
that's
wrong.
fine. But yeah, so Born Again, like dude, first of all, they go and do the White Tiger trial thing that Bendis did in his run back in like the 2000s. That was cool. I'm dying to reread that stuff because I haven't read it in so fucking long. But then the fact that we had talked not on the show, but remember when Jason Aaron's Punisher came out and it was like him with the, running the hand or whatever. I was like, what the fuck? And you're like, they're trying to get away from the logo because of
Yeah.
how it's been co-opted in the media and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, and now they're just like, we're going to fucking own that shit. And I told Kirsten that episode where we see the guy in the Punisher suit walk out and fucking Cap, what's his name? I'm like, A, it's not Frank. B, in like 3 episodes, we're gonna have an army of fucking crooked police in Punisher logos. And I mean, I was
Sure
like,
enough.
oh.
Oh, yeah.
And they literally took it back, in my opinion. They took it back.
They did like I loved Punisher in this. Like I loved the
Yeah.
no apologies towards police at all. I mean,
Oh,
he
love
was
it.
killing cops left and right.
Yes.
Because
they were crooked.
Yes.
They're Fisk's elite guard.
Because that's what Punisher does. If you do bad, he'll kill you.
Yep. He'll kill you. It doesn't matter who you are.
Exactly. Like the scene where he just like takes the guy, like breaks the guy's teeth on the table side, and then shoves another guy on the table, and then shoots the gun.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 and then the blood comes out from underneath the table. I just look forward to telling every person, like, oh, hey, you in the Blue Lives Matter Punisher skull shirt. What did you think of Daredevil season 3 when he took that cop, shoved his face into the table, and shot 3 shots in his head? One shot would have killed him, but he did 2 other ones just to make sure he was dead.
Yeah, right. That was great. I love that scene where they're basically like, "We're big fans. You can come and he was like, you know me. I fucking love John Bernthal. I think he's fantastic, and I still love Ray Stevenson in Warzone, and I think Thomas Jane could have been fantastic. I just think that movie sucks. It's not Thomas Jane's fault. I wish that short film that was online that got redacted by Marvel's lawyers, the Dirty Laundry or whatever. I wish that would see the light of day, but it probably won't.
I've seen it. It's okay. I think if you look for it on YouTube, you can find it.
Maybe. I feel like Thomas Jane, he had the right heart for it. It was just that movie is
worst
fucking
script.
awful.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good movie. We're rewatching Daredevil season 1 now because we never watched season 3 because when season 3 came out, they had already announced it was going to be canceled. So I was like, why would I fucking like you just said about the Marvel shows, right? I was like, fuck you. I'm not watching this shit. So my only exposure to Bullseye in the TV, has been the, Born Again. So I wanted to go back and fill in that gap and rewatched. I really like the first 2 seasons. They both take 2 episodes to get started. Like the first episode is not good of either season.
Yeah. And I remember like I think my issue with the original series was he just seemed to be out of costume too much.
No, see, that's so funny because I still hate the fucking costume. I hate it every time it's on screen. So all the people that were like, Born Again sucks. It's like a courtroom. I'm like, I'd rather have him in a courtroom than a costume. I
Oh, I
fucking hate the
agree.
costume. I wish he'd
I
go back to the fucking black, bandana. That was awesome. But it doesn't matter. It's such a good show. I don't care that I hate the costume.
I disagree with that, but I it took forever for like I think the last episode in season 1 he gets the costume on.
Yes.
And then, for some sort of reason he doesn't have it in season 2, and then for season 3 he
No, he has it
kind
in
of
season.
has it.
He has it in season 2.
Then
Right from the
season
jump.
3 he kind of doesn't have it. Then there's like a
Okay.
season, like 2 seasons where he's barely wearing it. And granted, in this one, because he's retired, he's not being Daredevil anymore. It makes sense that he's not wearing a costume. Um, because if he puts that costume, he breaks the deal with Fisk. Basically, it worked better in this. I feel like him not having a costume on all the time compared to like season 1, where it's like, God damn, put the costume on. I'm getting tired of the black
Well,
pajamas.
season 1 is the Frank Miller year 1 or whatever. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like that exact configuration of the bandana or whatever in the black. And he's got to work as well. So I thought the evolution of how then he goes to Mervyn and he gets the costume or whatever, it doesn't, it's the same thing in Born Again. Like, I don't like the way he swings around. Like, it's too
Comic
CG
booky.
or something.
I'm okay with that.
But
It's like, the panels in the comic, you need the little.
There's stuff from comics that don't, it's just like I think it's the second episode it's either the second or third episode of the second season has a panel or like a scene that is a exact page out of a Garth Ennis comic where Frank has him tied up with chains to like a chimney on top of a apartment building in New York. And it looks so stupid in real life. Like, I just remember seeing that. I was like, you're kidding. So, and I just think not everything translates, but we have to have the costume,
Yes.
so it's fine. Like, again, I feel like they do such a good job outweighing it for me, who do, I don't like the costume. And I did really like the fact that like he can't put it on because of Fisk. And you see both characters kind of trying to stick to their promise to the other one because not because they want to be honest about it or altruistic, but because they don't want to have to do that again. And then both of them crack about the same time. And then once they both find out, it's just all, completely bananas.
Oh, and Fisk was amazing in this. I think he's way better in this. I'm glad they brought his wife back.
Yeah.
And that she kind of had a bigger role than her being just the love interest.
But she's got a pretty big role in the original series. I think you're misremembering.
I think I'm misremembering some things too. I think in the comic book she wasn't that big of a role though.
No, she never was in a comic. Yeah. I mean, maybe in some of the stuff after what I read, but she never was.
But I mean, like taking a bigger role in the crime family part, anyways.
Yeah, right.
And well, doing it better in some aspects.
Doing it better. That was very cool.
Yeah. And like Poindexter was kind of fun. I think they gave you enough Poindexter in that. Any more would have been too much.
Yeah, but I think he'll be. I think he'll be involved in the second season for sure.
Oh, probably. I
feel like the second season seems like it might. Dude, there was a moment in this where I think it was the scene where it's like they're watching the police down at the docks. It's like near if it wasn't the last episode, I think it was Daredevil and Karen.
Yes,
and
I think it was the last one.
And I was like, dude, she's like, you can't go down there alone. I was like, oh my God. Okay, if Bullseye shows up and helps him, that'd be amazing. But even better would be if Spider-Man shows up. And as soon as I said it, I'm like, you're not getting that shit, bitch. But I mean, just, there was like a moment where I was like, oh my God, wouldn't it be amazing? Okay.
Never know.
No reason that couldn't fucking happen. Just putting it out there, Marvel. Come on.
It would be nice to see this. Yeah, it is nailing the street level characters perfectly. And this is in the comic book there's going to be some sort of superhero defenders resistance thing going on in the next season. I think they confirmed Jessica Jones is coming back.
I've heard anecdotally her and Luke Cage, but I don't believe either. I'll believe them both when I see it because
Yeah.
I think the YouTube channel I saw that had like a thumbnail for it is it's I won't say it by name, but they always have thumbnails for shit where I'm like, I learned years ago. I'm like, that's not a thing. What are you talking about? Nobody else is reporting that, and you're like, oh, we got this scoop. Ed Asner is back from the dead. He's going to be Doctor Strange's, podiatrist. Okay.
I'd like to see Iron Fist come back too, even though I've said this before, the first season of Iron Fist is fucking awful.
I
It
didn't
is
watch it.
don't. And you know what? I would say don't. But the second season actually, what I love about the second season, which is actually really good, is they listened to everyone's complaint. Like they actually said, well, what does the internet said we need to do to fix this? Okay, check, we could do that. 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 And they do it. Like they listened to the internet and fixed all the problems,
Okay.
which was cool. And then it left in such a good cliffhanger where it was like, I mean, the show's 10 years old, so here's spoilers. So, um, there's a couple other characters in Iron Fist that are like family to him. Like, so Iron Fist, he's rich. He's a single kid parent, single, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Gets in a car crash or gets in a plane crash, grows up in the mountains with Tibet guys,
He's Bruce
becomes
Wayne.
Iron Fist. Yes, Bruce Wayne, but in a
martial arts.
sense, right?
Well, Bruce Wayne is also, but whatever, it's fine.
But he had two friends growing up that was like partners. Like the parents had a partner in their big business, and they had two kids that he was friends with.
Okay.
That was practically family. So throughout the show, it's like a brother and sister and him type family deal going, like really close family. So the brother throughout the series is kind of dealing with alcoholism or something. I don't remember what it was. He's a tool. But they decide at the end of the season, like, you know what? I'm not going to be Iron Fist anymore. I'm going to do something else. And I'm going to take you with me and we're going to travel the world. I'm going to help you get clean. He's going to clean him up. And the next thing you see is like 1 year later, and the brothers in a bar, like getting into a fight. Or I don't remember the full details of what it was, but something was where the Iron Fist had to come in and save him. And he shows up wielding two pistols that are glowing and starts shooting them, and that's how it ends.
Wait, like, Iron Fist has two pistols?
Yeah, two pistols, like two magnums, like glowing with Iron Fist power that he's shooting magic bullets from. And it's like, how the fuck did we get there?
That sounds like maybe it's best that.
No, I thought it was cool.
Okay.
I'm not doing justice. No one. I hope no one tunes in here to hear my fine storytelling abilities. But it was a solid ending. Like it was like one of those things. Like I want to see what happens next with this show more than I want to see what happened next with Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones combined. Like out of all the third seasons that would have been, Iron Fist was the one I was like, what's this going to?
I think you're the only person on Earth that has said that, at least in my presence. But that's cool.
I don't think anyone's actually physically watched the second season.
I didn't even know there was one, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I had also, like, the second season of Jessica Jones blew. Like, it didn't blow, but there were things about it I liked, but I just didn't. I'm like, and then again, when they cancel it, and then they're like, oh, but here's a third season. I'm like, you already told me, like, away with you. So
yeah.
I don't know. Even Chris Ritter's born to play that role. And I always forget his name, but Luke Cage, he's Mike on Evil, and I fucking love him on that show, and I loved him as Luke Cage and Jessica Jones. I just never watched Mike Coulter. I never watched the Luke Cage show. I don't know why I didn't. I just never did. I mean, I watched Jessica Jones season 1, Daredevil season 1 and 2. And then stumbled through
season 1 was solid.
I believe it. Mike Coulter's fucking awesome. I really like him.
It did a really good job of addressing the N-word. throughout the whole thing
Okay.
of why you should like it explores both sides of like when it's right to say it as a black person, when it's not right to say it as a black person.
Near
Like
to
the
well?
whole which one?
Near to well?
Yes, that N word.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
Um,
I do need to watch that though, because I really like him.
and the one of the main women actors in there, I can't remember her name. I think she was Black Mamba in the game. Um, her transformation from who she is in the first episode and who she becomes in the last episode is amazing.
Okay.
Just well written.
Okay.
I didn't care for the second season as much, but the just the and it's not just because it's like addressing the N word per se, but the way they handle it in it. I mean, they
Okay.
say it a lot in the show, but they do. It's the discussion. It was nice to see someone kind of discuss like, is it okay for you to say that even if you are black, or is it okay to say that? It's definitely not okay to say it when you're white, but like, should you say that word? It was just a really good discussion on that word
Okay.
in general that I've never seen anywhere else. So
Interesting.
yeah, it was a really good social commentary, which is amazing to say about a Marvel show that really
Yeah,
didn't get
right.
much. Yeah, it gets overlooked a lot, I thought. Boy, I'm thirsty though.
So, Mike, I started the episode and we didn't even do so this time we are drinking. So this is from my neck of the woods. This is from Blackhorse Brewery. I think we did another one of their beers at some point, but this is their best beer in my opinion. They've got a killer coal miner stout, but this is their Barnstormer Red, and I
Like
love this.
Daredevil.
Yeah, I love this beer, man.
Okay.
I love red beers, and you just don't see a lot of them anymore.
Really?
And I'm not talking about Killian's Red Coors trying to be like, just slap some shit together. The Irish, give it an Irish name, and the Irish will be all over it.
I used to love Killian's Irish Red.
Yeah, yeah. Before
I
I ever
mean,
had like a real red beer.
like,
Oh,
yeah, before when there was, when you'd go into the bar, and your choice was, Coors, Miller Lite, or the import Killian's
yeah.
Red.
Well, Liney's red for years. That was great. So the nose on this thing, and I'm not one of these fucking beer cunts. Not the. I shouldn't say that. I'm not one of these cunts that's like, oh, the nose. But like this fucking thing, it smells like a sour, and it's not.
I'm not getting that, but my nose is a little fucked up still, so
It is just such a unique
it is
profile. I
tasty though.
really like it. I really, really like this beer. Brewed in Clarksville, Tennessee. Um, yeah, I ain't gonna read the description, but it's delicious and nutritious. So, Mike, I got to tell you, um, I procrastinated reading the rest of Multiversity. I left off it after the Pax Romana, the Watchmen issue, right?
Uh-huh.
The Charlton characters, and that's where I was when we did the last episode on this. I love Frank Whiteley's art, so that issue is great to look at. But I read it forward and backward and like not just backward by pages but by section. It's just a fucking mess. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
It's like ideas that don't go anywhere or whatever. And so this this was kind of my complaint last time, and I've kind of been able to crystallize this now because I don't feel quite the same. You get this first issue that introduces all these concepts and whatnot. These heroes gathering at the orrery at the whatever the place is at the center of the worlds, and the Savage Dragon guy is like bringing these people in with the fucking Rubik's cubes or whatever, and blah blah blah. And then we go into these individual issues that have nothing to do with any of that, and I'm like, what? So I was really just kind of like, okay. So after the Pax Romana, or Pax Americana is what it is, I think.
Yeah.
We get this Shazam issue. And it's really well done, but it's Cameron Stewart's art. I mean, he's fantastic. Work with Morrison on The Invisibles.
It was a good issue, I thought.
I hate Shazam. It's like, so that didn't do me any favors. But then that leads into then this Savannah character, the bad guy from Shazam, and it leads into the guidebook issue.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm skipping this bullshit. And I didn't. I read everything. And I was like,
Good.
okay, it's a lot, but it's kind of cool. And then we come out of it and we go through a couple more of these like individual issues. And then we go back finally. And it's the two wraparound issues, right? Is what it is. We go back finally and pick up where the first issue left off. And I was like, did we need everything in between? But check this out. So if anyone's interested, Grant Morrison, if you just type in Multiversity annotations, you'll get Grant Morrison's Substack, and he wrote all about these. I didn't know any of this, but this makes such perfect fucking sense. He said the framing issues came last. So the original idea for this, Mark Waid, Greg Rucka, and Jeff Johns and Grant Morrison coming out of 52, which you talked about, they wanted to do something that explored these individual universes, and it just never happened. But the idea still kicked around in Morrison's head, and he took his time with it. And so that's how in 2009 we get to 2015 before it reaches, newsstands or whatever. And newsstands, like they're still sold on newsstands, comic shops, whatever, I don't know. But I think it's really interesting that like the framing issues came last, because then he had to figure out a way like, well, so what ties these individual, so they were individual issues that had nothing to do with anything really. And then it was like, well, how do I tie them together? So he writes the two framing issues and has time to work the thing of the comic book through them, where it's like everybody in every issue is like, this comic book is, between worlds, it's messages, blah, blah, blah. So that made me look at it differently, and it kind of softened my hatred. I don't hate this, I just don't like it. But there were some moments that I did ended up like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool, and like having that kind of understanding, like this idea. They mentioned it like really the idea is inspired by Flash. He said 123 from 1961, where I think it's whoever the Flash is, then Barry Allen or whatever, is reading a comic book about the Flash before him. I forget his name, Garrett.
Barry Allen, Jay Garrick.
Yeah. And so he was like, that was like in DC, they seem to have set it up early on where like characters can read comic books about other characters. So he's like, I just kind of went with that and expanded upon it. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Okay. I still say I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that guide issue more, but that's just, nerdy me. I think I said this last time. It's just like nerdy me getting all excited about like this fucking map thing in the middle and and just knowing where all the Earths are going, even though like none of it is canon anymore, although some of it kind of is, I guess. But I thought he did a good job flaming it. I liked the Shazam one too. Just because Shiva is kind of a weird villain dude.
Oh, Savannah,
that's it. It's one of those names I've never heard out loud except when I watched the movie and just never registered or remember it. But I think in like 52, like the Legion of Savannahs are in there. Like they've been in other books before, so it was kind of fun watching, seeing those crazy. Like one of them's like Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. And then one of them's just like, oh, are all of my doppelgangers like crazy, evil criminals or whatever?
But yeah, I could see where you get like thrown off by the middle issues. Really have nothing to do with anything other than just kind of giving you a flavor of the other universes, which is kind of how I took it, so it didn't bother me as much. I knew there wouldn't be more of this Shazam Thunderworld, just that, this is a taste of it. And I only needed a taste because I don't think I was going to read a Shazam Thunderworld book anyways. Unless Grant
I
Morrison wrote it, I might.
I just wish there was a way that so I love Grant Morrison, but there's an element. I think there's a little bit element of him post Batman, which is incredible,
Mhm.
where people just let him do whatever he wants, and I think he has such massive ideas that he's not always able to fit them into an actual story context, like a workable, readable, enjoyable, followable story. And that's kind of a problem. Like, so I wish that the stuff in the first issue, it's only the comic book that snakes through the rest. And it is like, I agree. It's cool that they had this idea, oh, let's explore these weird, pocket universes or whatever. But that's even like, we could have had a year of that. So there's just a couple random issues of this with these two
See,
bookends.
I disagree. I think it isn't so much that DC lets him do whatever he wants. I think DC, um, because of like, I feel like ever since 52 came out, DC's kind of neutered him a lot. Like, you can't do this stuff because, Superman can't, like they're hardcore about their little rules and, keeping it with the regular 52 universe when that was happening. It all had to be contained into the same universe. They didn't want to do. Well, I could be wrong because I think there was an Earth 2, which I think is the Earth 2 that's in here. But I mean, um, but to me, it just felt like ever since like 52 happened, there was an editorial shift, and that editorial shift just made things a little more difficult for writers to do stuff, or things had to be written differently. Like I swear I probably said this before. Like when I was rereading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, there's a point where like before 52, it's a very enjoyable book. The whole thing's fine, but it's different storytelling as soon as when the new 52 hits. And it's Jeff Johns. I mean, he writes this. You think he writes the same, but like there's less focus on like love interest characters and less pages. There's two less pages, and there was more like things had to be more splash pagey, so you had to write around that. Like there
Mm-hmm.
was definitely some sort of change that took place that I didn't particularly care for too much about, and I thought it might have just been me being pre-justice, but it was like I said when I was rereading those Green Lanterns, it didn't even occur to me I was in the 52 area till like I read that issue and I was like, why is this so fucking different?
And then you're like, oh, that's why.
Oh yeah, exactly. Um, for a guy who did the run like 2 years after and 3 years before, 4 years before, it shouldn't be that different. You shouldn't just like pick up a book and go like, oh shit, what happened here?
Right.
You
Well,
know,
that's true. I mean, they let Morrison carry on with his Batman Inc. at that point for quite some time,
but they
while the new 50.
changed it
No, it
because
was the same. It's just
no,
that book of Batman
Stephanie
and Robin
Brown
were
had
unchanged.
Stephanie Brown wasn't Barbara Gordon was walking. So she was no longer in a wheelchair. That was a big deal in the new 52. And Stephanie Brown had one issue that he wrote before the New 52, and then she kind of slowly got written out because they wrote her out of the New 52 universe.
I have no idea who
And
Stephanie Brown
yeah,
is.
it's because I'm a big Batman fan. They
No,
wrote out all
I know.
my
I'm
favorite
just saying.
characters. Yeah, so there was changes to it, and Bruce Wayne became younger.
Well, but
So I mean, they were
that always
cramming.
happens.
Yeah, but they were cramming all that. You know, Grant Morrison's run before that was celebrating, what, 70 years of Batman history,
Yeah.
all crammed into one, like kind of making it all into one thing, like making that Silver Age stuff is canon now, and all that was canon for some weird reason that he could explain. And then, suddenly, 52 happens, and like he can't do 70 years. He has to do the last 3 years. You know, Batman's only been around for 3 years. And
But I think that was a natural evolution of what he was doing because he does the original however many years he did on Batman, right? And that's what that was, the 70 years, Xena, Batmite, you know, the Black Glove, all this shit. And then Bruce dies. So this is where they neutered him. Bruce dies in Final Crisis, and then Dick and Damian take over, and we get Batman and Robin. And Morrison said, I told DC, you want my opinion, you should never bring Bruce back. This is the way to go. And they're like, yeah. Whatever. So they neuter Batman and Robin by making him bring Bruce back, right? So then you get that, like, whatever happened to the Cape Crusader, and the I don't know what it was called, it was like 5 issues, like the death of Batman or the return of Bruce Wayne or something. It sucked. And that was totally him. That was him having to readjust. Okay, now I've got to readjust my pole position because you're making me. But then we get Batman Inc. And I thought Batman Inc. was fucking amazing. And it just went right back to the same, like he course corrected and then went back to it, you know. So I feel like you're not wrong, but I think he still got to do primarily.
I agree he did, and I don't see there shouldn't have been any reason for DC to let him continue telling that story without making it 52 related, but they did. Do you know what I mean? Like he could have easily told the story like, oh yeah, because you've all been reading my book for the last 2 years. Let's just finish the run, and when it's done, it's done. But no, they had to like change his costume so it looks like the new 52 costume. They had to change. The other thing is they got rid of Tim Drake too. Was like a thing. There was no Tim Drake in that universe.
Wait a minute. Actually, Final Crisis is before the new 52, right? God,
yes.
Their continuity is so fucking. It's just stupid.
To be fair, we're looking back at it, so.
But it always has been. They just. And, you know, and honestly, I think now I don't read it, but I think they seem to have come a little bit under the idea like anybody can tell any fucking story because it's just a different world, right? So,
which is fine.
Yeah,
it's what they should be doing. Yeah,
it's what they should be doing. That way, you don't have to fucking. Oh well, now you're writing this book. You got to make it align with all this. Fuck you. I'm here to tell them. You know what's the White Knight, Sean, the Irish guy. He's got 3 names.
Sean Murphy.
Yeah, so that's its own fucking thing, and I haven't read anything other than that first series. His first series is great, but I love the fact that, you know, they're like, no, that's yours. Just do whatever you want with it.
It's your own pocket universe, yeah.
I mean, that was only a couple years after the Morrison thing, so they've obviously evolved to where, because they should have just let Morrison keep telling whatever the fuck he wants. Just let him do whatever he wants and do your new 52 bullshit over here. Fuck off.
Yeah, I think, but, you know, that's Rebirth is where they got rid of that whole new 52 hard line. And, yeah, I know.
Oh, my God. I remember hearing that was going to happen. I'm like, please, I hope they call it the old 52 because it would just be so laughable.
It still wasn't the old 52 though. It was like, well, we're still going to do the Scott Snyder stuff that everyone loves. You know,
what's the new logo for DC or the new slogan for DC? It's like it's so fucking stupid. I can't remember what it is. It's like
all in.
That's it. It's so dumb. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like, did somebody say McDonald's? That's what it sounds like to me. DC all in. Fuck you. What the fuck?
I think that's like the AEW Wrestling Federation's thing is all in too.
Well, they're probably all owned by fucking Discovery. So there you go. Oh my God, all in. Dude, that is the fucking, it's just so dumb. Oh my God, having been a kid that was picked on, I look back and I understand why I was picked on now because I was stupid. I did things where like people were like, I can't not pick on this kid. And the reason I understand it is because I feel like DC is some stupid kid and I can't not pick on DC because I'm just like, buddy, like just, oh my God, stop wearing sweatpants to school. Yeah, but so all in all, like I did enjoy it. I mean, I still felt like the end. Another thing, and I don't feel like he was always like this, but I definitely feel like this with some his DC later stuff, like Seven Soldiers and Final Crisis, and this. The ending doesn't make any fucking sense. It's just they need to win, so they win. But it reminds me of every X event ever, other than the original Inferno, where it's just like you're down to the last 5 pages of the final issue of the event book, and it's like, oh wait, if Havoc uses his power with storms, winds, and Iceman, oh look, we won, cool, bye. Like it's just the 11th hour bullshit, and it just feels like that in this work. I don't know. There's
I wish there was a
like,
more definitive ending.
like tell me what happened, because I have no fucking clue what happened. Like I'm reading it, I'm like, I don't know. The empty
Asked me a
hand.
month ago.
Like there was a part of it where I thought it was going to be really cool, where like there's turn this page and it's a guy in a suit at a desk looking at you, talking to you as the reader.
Yeah.
And then they doing this empty hand thing, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then it's like, what? And then they're even like critiquing it at like where they that big winged thing with one eye that
Yeah.
there's actually word bubbles where it's or not word bubbles, but there's captions that are literally like supposed to be internet people talking about it on the internet, and they're like, the bad guy's a fucking egg, like but nothing happens from that. It's like I was like, oh, what's gonna hatch? Nothing. What's this empty hand? This shadowy devil looking thing sitting in a chair goes nowhere.
Yeah, I feel like they were setting something up for the future, and I was kind of a little let down. Like, no,
Yeah, I don't.
this is
I
supposed
don't
to
know if they
stop
told him.
everything.
I don't know if they told him he was going to get more and they didn't give it to him or what. But it definitely like
Or he's
I
laying
don't
it
know.
out for future. Because I think there's a couple other multiversity books out there that he didn't write. I think
Really?
I think there's like, yeah, I remember seeing something about that when I was trying to find some fun facts about multiversity, and all I could find was just when it was written. Um, but yeah, I think there was like a teen, like the Just guys. I think they get their own series for a bit. It's
Yeah,
written by someone else.
it's called Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, that'll do well. Yeah, I can't remember, but I remember there was something like there was another multiversity book um that wasn't it was titled multiversity because it was like one of the Earths in this, but it wasn't outside like it. I don't think it related to this at all, but I could be wrong.
That's I mean
It, all I saw was Grant Morrison didn't write it, so I didn't care.
yeah.
I remember
I
that.
just
It was just like, okay, cool, yeah.
I feel like they just leave so many things on the table and they don't have
hmm
to. But I don't know.
That's comics though, like
Yeah, you're not
Civil
wrong.
War, big event. Oh, look, main guy's a Skrull. Now they're Skrulls. Now we're doing Secret Wars, and then that leads into House M or whatever. Like I don't remember the progression, but yeah, every
Yeah, I
time you
didn't
read
read
those,
any of
like
that.
you get into the big summer event, and then you get to the end of it. It's just teasing next year's summer event.
Yeah, right,
Was how
right.
it ended. Yeah, it's just it's the
But
past 10 years has technically been the same event.
but at least those what you're talking about, if they are doing that, at least they're not leaving anything on the table. They're passing the torch to the next event. This it's just like
I
it
felt
literally,
kind of did a little bit of that. Yeah. No,
you
it
know.
did end kind of quickly too.
But I'm
Um,
glad we read it. I'm glad I
yeah.
finished it. It didn't fix the fucking world, but
Wait a minute, it didn't? Are you
mm-mm.
sure?
Hmm.
Um,
I mean,
it
maybe I'll
it
wake up tomorrow and
wait, it didn't fix the world as a time of recording.
yes. So it's the 19th of May. We're recording this, so I don't know when this will
Yes.
go up, but
So
maybe.
if things start changing in the next couple of days, it was because Sean fixed this.
Well, we fixed it.
We fixed
Mike,
it.
we built this city. We built this
Yes.
city on rock and roll
And comic books.
and comic book.
Do, do, do.
All right, that's Drinking with Comics. I'm Sean.
I'm Mike.
Hi, I'm Sean. Join me and my friends every week for the Horror Vision, where we talk about horror movies.